Yes, that's right. It's little old me, that gal with a spark, that mistress of the dark, Elvira. The show, as you know, is Movie Macabre, and week after week, that's exactly the kind we show. Macabre. Oh, silly me. Take, for example, the one we have threaded up for you this time around. It's a little something called Kiss Daddy Goodbye. Kiss Daddy Goodbye. Ain't that what you're supposed to do in the event of a nuclear attack? I know they always say you're supposed to kiss something goodbye. But never mind that. The movie is Kiss Daddy Goodbye, and it stars that heartthrob of the 50s, much before my time, of course, that heartthrob of the 50s, Fabian Forte. Or Fabian Forte, or just plain Fabian. Take your pick. Remember him? Yeah, well, whenever I think of Fabian, I always just automatically think of Frankie Avalon and my favorite role model, Annette Funicello. Yeah, golly. As a teenager, I always wanted to develop along her lines. Okay, it's Kiss Daddy Goodbye, another Movie Mac biggie, and it's coming right up. Well, it looks like some of them hippies pulling up, or were they surfers? Maybe they were bikers. You know how it is, they're all the same. And when are those brats with the frisbee gonna learn that you don't use the power to retrieve one of them suckers? You got to run out in that traffic and takes your chances. The power in this movie is kind of sort of like the Force, you know, in Star Wars. Kind of. You know what they say, may the frisbee with you. Oh, yeah. Oh, golly, that just killed me. Well, anyway, Kiss Daddy Goodbye continues in a minute. That bunch is liable to give bikers a bad name. Or were they hippies or surfers? Heck, I don't know. And where's that tiger of a deputy all the while? Why, he's out there on the coast highway writing speeding tickets. That's where. When he pulled over that one camper, he didn't just write a ticket. He wrote a short story. I mean, the poor joker driving that thing worked all year long just to get 2 weeks vacation, and then he spends half of it pulled over by the side of the road while Fabian writes him up. Oh, swell. Have a nice day. And those kids with the power, I mean, give me a break. Sure, use it to get your frisbee back. Oh, sure, use it to stack the groceries on the shelf. But what about when Dad needed a little help out there with the Hells Angels? What about then, huh? Yeah, that was a heck of a time to say, no, we better not use it. Okay, I guess the kissing part in Kiss Daddy Goodbye is coming up, so stick around. Bikers, hippies, surfers, rugrats, they're all the same, all the same. And hey, I guess that war paint those kids put on old Dad really did the trick. I mean, he's getting around pretty darn good for a dead person. But how they're gonna explain his condition to that social worker, the one, by the way, who manages to afford a Porsche on the salary we taxpayers are giving her, how they're gonna explain Dad's condition to her is beyond me. He must be starting to smell by now. Well, I guess that's one bridge to cross when we get to it. Right now, we're gonna bridge to a commercial. Another clever segue, if I do say so myself. Don't you dare go away. Kiss Daddy Goodbye continues right after these words. Correction, that guy Nicholas ought to be in another world.
Stop saying that.
Easy, lighten up, little girl. It's my job, okay? Hey, was I seeing things, or did they actually have Dad tunneling through the sand to get to that biker and his chick? I mean, somebody on the crew must have said, hey, dig it, man. What if we, like, have it, this hand, you know, like come right up out of the sand? And everybody else said, wow, man, far out. Do you know how stupid that is? I mean, to have some guy in a three-piece suit just tunneling like a little mole through the wet sand on the beach? When you go out on location like that to make a movie, you don't want to start getting your inspiration out of a jug of cheap wine. Stick to the script! Oh, wow, I think I've stuck to the script. Just off me. Hey, I guess he still respects her. Girls, maybe there's hope for the rest of us. But I am on to that stunt he pulled back there in that restaurant. I mean, having yourself paged like that, it's an old trick, girls, and a cheap one at that. They take you to some real fancy joint and tell you to order whatever you want, and just when you've ordered the most expensive thing on the menu, they get called away on some emergency.
How horrible.
Oh, you think that's bad, honey? Listen to this. I once went out with a guy who was so cheap that instead of bringing me flowers, he showed up with a packet of seeds. I once went out with a guy who was... maybe we could tell Miss Dennis that Daddy's gone fishing for the day.
I don't think she'll believe that.
Okay, then what about telling her that Daddy's taking an aerobics class?
I don't think she'll believe that.
Well, what if we tell her that he was arrested for burning his draft car back in the 60s?
I don't think she'll believe that.
Okay, oh, I've got it. Let's tell her that Daddy's an astronaut and he has gone to the moon.
I don't think she'll believe that.
All right, then you come up with something. God, I'm only trying to help. Oh, what if we tell her that Daddy's joined a religious cult and he moved to Idaho? Right now, Daddy's saying, "Hey, kids, why do you have me digging this hole?" "Oh, we just wanted to play war." That's a foxhole you're digging, sure. I am not so sure that burying him is such a smart idea. I mean, if they bury him, then who's going to drive him to the beach? They've had it pretty cool. I mean, getting driven around in that big old Lincoln Continental.
It's neato.
Yeah, sure is. So why bury Dad? What they ought to do instead is give him a shower and a change of clothing. Kiss Daddy goodbye continues, and continues, and continues, and... Honey, there is plenty of things I wish I understood my own darn self. Like, for one thing, why this movie ain't over yet. You know, it would have been if she hadn't have talked the kids into letting that biker loose. Now he's running for it with Fabian in hot pursuit. Of course, she already knows what hot pursuit's all about.
He made me, Beth.
Yeah, we know. So now the chase is on. They figured they needed a chase scene to give Fabian something to do in this movie besides writing up speeders. Okie doke, we're closing in on the exciting conclusion. It's coming up right after these messages from the advertisers. Guy, the closing credits on this turkey lasted so long that I forgot how it ended. Oh, yeah, that's right. The lights on that Lincoln started blinking, which made very little sense on account of the county coroner had already toe-tagged old Dad and carted him off to the morgue. Well, I guess some things are better left unexplained. But, gee, why couldn't they have given this movie a happy ending? Gee, Tom, what do you think we ought to do?
Well, I'm going to go back to my place and pick up where we left off.
Oh, no, Tom. I mean about the kids. What do you think we ought to do about the kids?
Well, why don't we stick them in a white room and stick needles in their head?
Oh, no, Tom, no. You kids wouldn't like that, would you? See, kids never like it when you stick needles in their heads. Don't you have a better idea than that?
Well, I make pretty good money as a deputy.
Yeah?
Why don't we get married?
And then we could adopt the kids.
And we could all live
Happily ever after. Huh. That's the kind of ending I would have liked, but I guess I'm just a sentimental little fool. Well, okay. That's all she wrote for Kiss Daddy Goodbye. According to the old clock on the dashboard, it's time for me to be kissing you goodbye. Oh, yeah, and of course, unpleasant dreams.